Thank you very much, Mike. Hey, this is kind of a different Money Tuesday for you today. Have you ever dreamed of living abroad? Do you know someone who lives in another country? Well, the money issues are a little different when you do that. And Stewart Welch is here today to talk about this topic. How are you?
Good morning, Janice.
Good
I'm
to
doing
see
perfect.
you. I don't know anyone who lives abroad, but
Really?
no, I do not. But well, yes, I do. I take that back. Yeah, I do. I know someone who lives in Greece.
Most people think, oh, I don't know anybody.
Yeah,
and
I
if
do.
they really think, they go, oh, I know cousin so-and-so.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the deal with this? So why is it an issue?
Well, I think a lot of people kind of think, what would it be like to live abroad? It'd be a lot of fun. And this is really not my area of expertise, but a friend of mine and a fellow planner, Brian Hancock, that is his area of expertise. And he and I were talking about the other day and how all the complications are around that. And people just don't know that. So the U.S. is probably the only country on the planet that wants to tax worldwide income. Now, they do have some exemptions, but if you get into income tax planning, it can be very complicated. Retirement planning is particularly complicated if you are living abroad. Mm-hmm. And there are people that are living abroad that are planning on living their full retirement
mm-hmm.
years. So you have a lot of complicated issues.
Like, for example, someone who works for Microsoft, they're sent to live in China for a few years as part of their assignment.
They are an American
they're considered American expatriate.
Yep.
Okay.
They are, and all of these issues apply to them. Now, if they're working for a really big company like that, they'll have, they'll typically have a lot of support within that company, a lot of mm-hmm. professional support. But a lot of people working for smaller companies, or a lot of people have just chosen to, I'm going to spend a couple of years in a foreign country.
Right.
And just because they want to do that.
Okay, run down the list of what we need to know.
Well, I think estate planning. So we think we might have resolved the estate planning laws here. You're not taxed unless it's above $5 million. And but if you live in a foreign country, you potentially are, because these foreign governments are all scraping around for money, and they're saying, gosh, if you're living here and you die here, we want part of that estate. So you have to be really careful about that. Healthcare, as you might imagine, might be problematic. So unless you have a particular expat package that's a healthcare package, you could run into some real problems in the healthcare area. So we want to be really careful about that.
Okay.
Asset protection, we can just buy some insurance and put it in an LLC. That's not the same when you go abroad and live abroad. You have a potential problems. And to repatriate back into the United States, Brian was telling me about a couple coming in, and they couldn't get their phone hooked up because they had to have, I can't remember what it was, they had to have a license, and they couldn't get a license until they had evidence of a phone hookup or something. It was just
so you run into a lot of difficulties. The final one, financial advice.
Financial advice. So we take it for granted here. We've got our insurance guy, we've got our financial advisor, we've got our CPA, we've got our state attorney. Over there, that's much more difficult. It's hard to find financial advice. And so what Brian did was put together a detailed white paper that's free, mm-hmm. that just talks for anything, anybody who's an expat or they're thinking about living abroad. Right. This is a paper that they ought to get.
And we will link you to that if you go to myfoxal.com if you are interested in such a thing. Stewart Welch, interesting today. We'll take a break. Be back.
Thanks, Dan.